Hey, this is ED, and if you're rocking with me tonight, right now, I'm saying thank you for the birthday bash, and thank you for showing up, and thank you for being here tonight with me. Thank you for your support, your prayers, and your love, and especially for these last few years. I don't take it for granted. Tonight, I didn't just have a celebration. I'm announcing my return back to the public arena. For a while, I stepped away from the general public, not because I lost the will, but because I needed to retreat and regain strength and to get through some stuff. There are times in life that requires a pause, not to retreat, but to kind of realign. I want to share with you that I've spent my whole life in service. Since the age of about 14, ministry has been my foundation, my calling, and my purpose. And at 21, I embraced it full time, giving up an executive position, and I didn't look back. Everything else, every job, every responsibility that I had to do, and everything that I had to resort to was only a means to sustain the ministry, but I never, ever turned my back on it. You know, I worked in the medical field for a while, and I served as a social worker. I did whatever it was necessary to keep my family cared for and my ministry that God obviously gave me thriving. But at no point did I ever question where my heart belonged. I want to tell you something. I've done my best for the kingdom, for my family, and for my community. And yes, I've made some serious mistakes. I've stumbled and I've endured hardships. But I need to tell you, there were nights when I wasn't even sure I could keep going. Nights when I looked into the mirror and questioned if the fight was worth it, if I was good enough. There were nights when the weight of the ministry, family, and community work felt, oh God, like a heavy load. But every time I wanted to step away, something called me back. You called me back. The faces of my children and grandchildren called me back. The legacy of those who came before us called me back. And that's why I'm here tonight, because I refuse to abandon the call. I can't do this without you, though. The work ahead is too great for one person. It's too urgent for hesitation, and too necessary to be silent. Affirmative action, gone. Voting rights, stripped away. Diversity and inclusion, criminalized. Black history, erased from classrooms. And yet, many still refuse to see it for what it is. This is not just politics. This is not just another cycle. This is a deliberate attempt to dismantle democracy and take righteousness out of the equation. Piece by piece, law by law, vote by vote. The rights of our ancestors, fought and died for, are being taken from us not slowly, not quietly, but blatantly in real time, and it's happening right now. And so I ask you, what are we going to do? Tonight, I'm leasing the unsettling force, because I refuse to accept a future where we sit back and watch everything our people built be torn down before our very eyes. Well, we've got Dr. King coming to us again, this clarion caller, this preacher. Spoke of the next phase in the fight for justice, and not just civil rights, but it was going to be about human rights. That fight is right now. For decades, we have faced the same injustice: mass incarceration, housing instability, underfunded schools, and ever-widening wealth gaps. We can't catch up, and we can't get a break. We pour resources into solutions, but the needle barely moves. You've seen it. We've been holding our breath and waiting to exhale for a long time. And we've watched leaders rise in community, in power, in wealth, and in influence, while those they claim to serve remain stuck in the same struggle. James Baldwin told us, though, if they come for you in the morning, they're certainly going to come for me at night. And this is not just about me. This is about all of us. We, you, the next door neighbor, your sister, your brother. Who would be the next target? Who's going to take the hit for injustice? And who will stand by and do nothing when that time comes? We've allowed a fear and a division to silence us. We've allowed doubt and envy to paralyze us. And in doing so, we have allowed our oppressors to win. And they've won without even lifting a hand against us. But tonight, I tell you, I refuse to stand alone. I stand with those who have sacrificed for the communities that they've served, only to be discarded and thrown away and feel empty and washed out. I stand with those who have fought for justice and fairness, only to find themselves isolated, without hope. And I stand with those who understand what Frederick Douglass said, and he was right about it. The limits of our tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. We can no longer endure this. Everybody talks about it. We whisper these things amongst ourselves, and we seen black leaders dismantled, not just by external forces, but by our own. The playbook has not changed, yet we keep falling for it. It's time to break the cycle. This moment requires more than an individual fight. It requires more than scattered activism. It requires more than watching from the sidelines. It's going to require you. It's going to require me. It's going to require a movement, an unsettling force that will not be bound by race, color, or creed, but by a shared commitment to justice. We're bringing people to the table, not just to talk, but to mobilize, to build, to act right now. And let me be clear about this thing. We can no longer afford to be fragmented. It's got to be all hands on deck right now. Remember Ida B. Wells. She reminded us that the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. And that is what we've got to do together. Dr. Du Bois, we hear you. The cost of liberty is less than the price of repression. We understand. And so I ask you tonight, will you take your rightful place in this fight? Beside me beside you, we beside them? Or will history remember you as one who did nothing? I need you in this fight. I need you to get out and register to vote. Yeah. Encourage other people to vote in your family. Fight voter suppression in the state where you live in, right here in Oregon. I need you to support grassroots organizations, give time, money, and resources to movements that fight for justice. I need you to educate your community. Teach those around you how systemic suppression operates. I need you to use your economic power, support black-owned businesses, withdraw from companies that fund oppression. I need you to engage politically, demand policy change. Contact your representatives, your senators, everybody, hold them accountable, because this is not just my fight, this is our fight. And I need you to know that we are the unsettling force. We cannot afford to wait any longer. We cannot afford to hope that justice will win. The unsettling force has arrived, and it's a call to duty now. And the question is no longer if we will fight, it's when will we fight? And the time is now. History's watching. The future is waiting. The choice is ours. We've got to fight now. Well, baby, we're going to lose everything. God bless you.